For months, I poured my heart into planning the perfect birthday celebration for my partner. Every detail was meticulously arranged, from the venue decorated with her favorite flowers to the custom-made cake that took weeks to order. I invited all her closest friends and family, hoping to create a memory she would cherish forever. The atmosphere was electric, filled with laughter and joy. I watched from the side, my chest swelling with pride, feeling like I had truly succeeded in making her day special. When the time came for speeches, I felt a knot of happy anticipation in my stomach, eager to hear her reaction to it all. She gracefully took the microphone, a radiant smile on her face. The room quieted down, everyone leaning in to listen. Her eyes scanned the crowd, and for a moment, I thought they would land on me. But they didn't. They settled on someone else, a man I barely recognized from her work circle. And then, she began to speak. She thanked him, her voice filled with a warmth that I hadn't heard directed at me in a long time. She said he was the one who made her feel truly seen, truly appreciated. She spoke about his kindness, his attention to detail, and how he always knew what to say. The air in the room instantly went cold. A hush fell over the crowd, so thick you could cut it with a knife. My smile froze on my face. It felt like all the oxygen had been sucked out of the room. I stood there, rooted to the spot, as a scattered, awkward applause broke the silence. Her friends exchanged uneasy glances, unsure of how to react. My heart hammered against my ribs, each beat a painful reminder of the public humiliation. It was a moment of pure, unadulterated shock. My world, which had been so bright and full of love just moments before, had just flipped upside down. I never imagined I would walk into a situation like this, especially not one I had orchestrated myself. With numb fingers, I walked over to her. I handed her the beautifully wrapped box containing the expensive gift I had spent weeks saving for. I didn't say a word. I couldn't. The lump in my throat was too big. I simply placed it in her hands, gave her a small, empty smile and turned around. I walked out of that party, leaving behind the cake, the decorations, and the life I thought we were building. Each step away from that venue felt heavier than the last. As soon as I got to my car, I pulled out my phone and began to cancel everything else I had planned for her. The surprise weekend trip, the dinner reservations at her favorite restaurant, the spa day, all gone, with a few simple taps. If you find yourself captivated by stories of unexpected turns in personal journeys, feel free to follow for more. You won't want to miss what happens next. But the public acknowledgement was nothing compared to what I discovered when I got home. The house was empty and silent, a stark contrast to the party I had just left. I sank onto the couch, my mind racing. Something compelled me to check our shared devices. And there it was. Message after message, painting a picture of a connection that went far beyond professional courtesy. It was a secret world I had no idea existed. The late-night conversations, the inside jokes, the shared plans, it all laid bare a truth that was even more painful than the public spectacle. They had been hiding this from me, building a bond behind my back while I was busy building a life for us. For a moment, pure, white-hot anger surged through me. My first instinct was to call her, to confront her, to demand an explanation for this profound breach of trust. But then, a strange sense of calm washed over me. I realized that a heated confrontation would solve nothing. It would only lead to more pain, more arguments, and more drama. No, I needed a different approach. I decided I would outsmart them. I wouldn't play their game. I would play my own. I wasn't going to let my emotions dictate my actions. Instead, I would be strategic, deliberate, and methodical. So I began to plan my response. Over the next few days, I became a man on a mission. I started with our finances. I carefully and legally began separating our accounts, ensuring my hard-earned money was secure. I consulted with professionals to understand my rights regarding our shared home, taking steps to protect my investment in the property we had built together. Every document, every message, every piece of evidence was meticulously cataloged and stored. I was building a fortress around my future, brick by brick. It wasn't about revenge in the traditional sense. It was about self-preservation. It was about taking back control of my life after it had been so spectacularly derailed. All the while, I maintained a facade of normalcy. I was polite but distant. She was so caught up in her own world that she barely noticed the shift. She was still basking in the glow of her birthday and the attention she had received. She had no idea that while she was distracted, I was orchestrating my quiet exit. I was a ghost in our own home, methodically dismantling the life we had shared, piece by piece. The silence was my greatest weapon. I let her believe that everything was fine, that her public declaration had gone unnoticed or had been forgiven. This gave me the time and space I needed to prepare for my next move. Finally, the day came when everything was in place. I had secured my finances, protected my assets, and had a clear path forward. That morning, while she was out, I packed a single bag, took one last look at the home that was once filled with so much love and hope, and walked away. I didn't leave a note. I didn't send a text. I just disappeared. I turned off my phone and drove, with no destination in mind, just a powerful sense of release. The weight that had been crushing my chest for weeks finally began to lift. I was free. Hours later, the calls started. First one or two, then a flood. My phone, which I had eventually turned back on, lit up with her name over and over again. The missed calls piled up, 10, 50, 100. By the end of the day, there were 157 missed calls and a barrage of frantic text messages. Where are you? Why aren't you answering? Please call me back. I'm worried. The panic in her messages was palpable. The realization had finally dawned on her that I was gone. The man she took for granted, the man she had publicly dismissed, had quietly slipped away, leaving her alone to face the consequences of her choices. The silence she was now receiving from me was a mirror of the silence I had endured at that party. She was left in a quiet room of her own making, with only the echo of her own words for company. My actions weren't born from a desire to inflict pain, but from a need to reclaim my own peace and dignity. I had turned a moment of profound hurt into a catalyst for my own liberation. It was a quiet, intelligent response that turned everything around, not with a loud bang, but with a silent, powerful exit. My new life had begun. For more dramatic stories about turning the tables and finding strength in unexpected places, follow this page. Thanks for listening.